What's going on, guys? Wanted to talk about a movie that recently came on DVD. I don't know, I found a digital thing, and it's something I've been looking forward to. I named it in the top 10 horror movies I'm looking forward to from what upcoming horror movies I could find coming out. Premise sounded awesome. Essentially, these five guys kidnap this one dude who they think is a werewolf and are planning on killing him. The tagline for the movie is "Would you kill a man to kill a monster?" And it's more of a mystery slash kidnapping interrogation thing than it is a monster movie. And it really does kind of keep you on your toes. But that's as far as I'm going to go spoiler wise, because it is definitely worth seeing on your own. The acting in it isn't great, but it is pretty solid. There's a couple parts that I would have personally pulled out in the editing process, slimmed it down. Now it's already only an 80-minute movie, so it doesn't hit the usual like hour and a half time frame. And I feel like they could have cut a good portion of the middle just to make it a tighter movie, tighter paced, and maybe added a bit in the beginning to really get to know the character rather and have us care what happens to the kidnappee than just being like, oh, he's a dick who cheats on his wife. Which is kind of the impression you're left with. Now, you do kind of care about the characters, but there's no one here that you really feel for throughout any of the movie. It's just a fun film. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's not something I would go and show to my friends and be like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is great." It's not that. It's going to be a once in a while watch. Oh, check this out. It's an interesting premise. What do you think? Maybe have a few drinks and laugh track it or something. There are some special effects, and quite a few of them are actually pretty convincing, considering that this was a very low budget. Oh, Jesus. I don't know why I just yawned. I, I guess I've been up quite a while. That that would explain it. As far as I'm aware, it was a very, very low budget film, and it was actually written and directed by one person. So he's obviously talented. There's a lot of really interesting dialogue, but there's also a lot of repetition. And that kind of comes with the territory of a kidnapping movie. There's no, like, oh, what's the syndrome called? I can't remember the name of the syndrome. If you remember, do it below. I really am exhausted. I probably should have waited till tomorrow to do this, but you know what? It's fresh in my mind. Just finished watching it. Stockholm Syndrome, I believe it is, where the captor falls in love or is fine with being kidnapped. I would have liked to have seen them play with that about halfway into it just to kind of put a spin on the story. And I really, really would have liked the ending to have been paced a little better because you basically saw it coming. That was the only thing that wasn't really something you were wondering about once it hits like the 70-minute mark of the 80 minutes or the 65-minute mark of the 80 minutes. You knew what was going to happen. There was no surprise after, there's no jaw dropping. It just continued the way you would logically conclude. So I guess props to that for making something that actually made sense. But overall, without giving anything away, I would give it a 7 out of 10, C plus. if we're going on a grading scale like that. I would say it's better than your average B horror movie. I wasn't really bored during any of it, but the major issue is I wasn't given any reason to care otherwise than superficial. He has kids, he has a wife, but he acts like a dick and cheats. So, even with the drawbacks, it's very enjoyable. It should be out on DVD already. The IMDb says May 10th, and as of this moment, it is May 24th. So, if I can find it, I'll link it below. But overall, good movie. Enjoy.